Hey, well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, baby. How's life been?
Life's been good, man. Just like you said, just trying to make the comeback happen officially. So I just been on the physical therapy and rehab grind, and then obviously back at it pretty hard in the gym for training, and then starting to pick things up again on the ice, which is an encouraging step into making the comeback happen.
That's great. Something that I think a lot of hockey fans and like viewers don't know and see is the behind the scenes of it all with recovery and injury, surgery, the day to day, like you have to train, but you have to recover at the same time. So I guess like I want to give like a behind the scenes type of view for these guys, people that are listening and watching. What's it been like for you? After surgery, I know you've had it's a knee injury and you had knee surgery. You can kind of dive into it a little bit, but what's the day to day been like for you going forward right now?
Yeah, so essentially, it's been 16 months since my injury. I had two surgeries. My second surgery was June 17th, and I've been on the grind since that date. Yeah, I got home in August, and since August, it's been PT 3 days a week, and then I was working out twice a week, and then I'd say it shifted in February to three workouts a week, and then two PT sessions. So yeah, it's a hockey season's only 7 months, but we call it a year-round sport, for us because you get home, you get your month off, you get to have your fun and kind of unwind a bit from the season. And then, most guys who played this year got back in the gym around June 1st, depending on how long their playoff run was. And then those guys are typically Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday in the gym. And then, usually around the 4th of July, or maybe a little bit earlier if the guys are playing in Europe, that's when we start skating. Most guys are on the ice twice a week for all of July. And then we usually bump it up to three times maybe for in August, and then you're off to training camp in September because you have to be in the best shape you possibly can for training camp for testing, and obviously they want to see you coming into camp in shape because if you're not, you're gonna stick out like a sore thumb.
Right.
Because training camp is a super rigorous progress process. So yeah, it's definitely a grind, but you get your work in the morning, and then usually have your afternoons to kind of recover, relax, go to the beach. So it's not all bad, but it's definitely summer's a critical time for a hockey player.
I feel like this is the first time you've actually had some type of interview in a long time. It's been too long. But
Yeah, it's been a minute.
it's just us catching up. But honestly, I think it's taken a lot of time for you to get back on the skates, though. I mean, that's been how long has it been through that process?
Yeah, so my first skate was I'd say 3 or 4 weeks ago. That was my first time in full gear in about 16 months. So it was super refreshing, but felt like it'd been an eternity. Having something that you're so used to having taken away from you. When you had no control over it was pretty tough. But yeah, I was super excited to be back out there with the guys, just kind of shooting the puck around and kind of being back in the locker room with all the banter and all that kind of stuff was definitely refreshing.
Mentally, it's the thing mental more than physical. I think you have to get strongest and really like elevate yourself and to getting back to normal, but also to even get even better in that mental state. But I think, what I want to bring up too is like once you get, I mean, how do you feel right now? Like skating?
I feel okay. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
things that are definitely hard for me. My first five or six strides don't feel great, or for me, it's my right knee. So coming out of turning right and then kind of exploding the other direction is something that I'm kind of struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say I'm at probably 60, 70%, maybe a little bit more, but I'm still ways out from being, I couldn't get medically cleared right now and I couldn't complete, a full training camp. So I skated yesterday, and I don't
Yeah.
feel fit enough today as far as my knee goes to skate today. So yeah, we have a ways to go, but we're working on it one day at a time.
I think it's from all those late nights out, big fella.
We got you gotta keep the mental happy. That's
That's
part of the
you.
process, right?
You got to get some sun.
Work
Get out
out
with the
work hard in
boys.
the week, and yeah,
Uh,
definitely enjoy yourself on the weekends here and there. You go crazy.
That's right. So, I mean, it sounds like a couple months away, maybe, do you have a timetable what the doctors have said or how you feel personally and when you'll be back?
Unfortunately, not. It's kind of just the pace that my knee wants to go is the pace it's going to go at. I need to be ready by early September, early October at the latest. So yeah, I'm definitely feeling the pressure, feeling the time crunch, but I think it's something that we can pull off.
Uh-huh.
Staying positive, but at the same time, um, there is part of me that knows maybe it might be time to move on, but that's a conversation for another day. Because I'm throwing everything I can at obviously, returning. So that's the focus. And hopefully, we'll be good to go by September, October for the start of training camp.
I believe you will be there and you'll be ready to go. One thing that I think a lot of people don't see in the background is how, like, what happens after you come back from an injury and getting a job, getting back in with a new team or a former team. What's that process like? You have your agent, you go out fishing a little. What happens with you and your agent and other teams?
Yeah, so everything's kind of on pause, obviously, because I'm not medically cleared. We're not sure if I'm going to be able to, I couldn't commit to a team tomorrow, right? If they offered me, because I don't know if my knee is going to get to that point. So we're kind of just in a waiting game almost, but at the same time, we're putting some feelers out to American League teams for camps that I could potentially go to there, and then obviously for ECHL contracts with a couple of different teams. Free agency is just kind of starting. I'm a free agent, so we're just kind of waiting. It's really we're at the mercy of my knee, but at the same time, we're starting to do due diligence on our end to see some potential spots for me to play. And that conversation will kind of increase as I'm getting closer to understanding. Hey, we're going to be able to do this, or hey, it's not looking as likely. And then obviously those conversations will kind of quiet back down.
We'll be jumping back on the podcast when you do sign with the new team. How about that? Sound
sure.
Good?
Yeah, I'm in for that.
There you go. One thing I want to move into and transition into is your historic college team you played for, Boston College. And I think that you got a lot of playing time with certain players that are actually in the show, just lighting it up right now. And I want to mention a few. Thatcher Demko, good buddy of yours in Vancouver, Alex Tuck, Buffalo, Johnny Gaudreau, Calgary, Kevin Hayes, Philly. How was it getting to know those guys and playing with them?
Yeah. My time at BC was awesome. Obviously, I went in 2013 was my freshman year, and BC had won a national championship in 2008, 2010, and 2012. So the program was in a really good state. They're having a lot of success. Obviously, Coach York is one of the best college coaches to ever do it, if not the best. Obviously, I think he's the GOAT. But so I went in as a freshman, a really good opportunity, really good time, and I got to play with all the guys that you mentioned, and there's several more that are on the show now, which is really cool to see. But my freshman year was special. I got to see Johnny Gaudreau have 80 points in 40 games, which was obviously remarkable. And then he was on line with Kevin Hayes, who's had a ton of success in the NHL, and obviously Thatch was our goalie, and he's an absolute stud and a good friend of mine still to this day. So it was really special. But those are the guys that we got to play with and play around that brought a lot of success to our team over my 4 seasons there.
I think Demko's due for a cup. I think he deserves it. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I think he's just his career in the NHL. He's finally broken through, and last year he was, obviously sensational, but he's only going to get better, man. Like, he is truly such a remarkable goalie, and he's a great guy. And I couldn't agree more that he's deserving of a cup. Obviously, Vancouver needs to build out a little bit more for that to become a reality. But he's any game that he's in, he's going to give your team a chance to win. So whether it's in Vancouver, if he ends up going elsewhere, I don't know what his contract situation is. He's going to give you a chance to win. He's phenomenal.
Unreal, and a good story because he's from San Diego. He's a Cali guy like you. One thing I want to transition into, I know you did watch the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. You were keeping a close eye on it with me. What did you think? Did you think that the Avs and Lightning would be in the Cup final? Like, what was your thoughts on the whole playoffs?
Well, I did a bracket and had 2 misses through the whole bracket and one pool over the gym. So it's definitely luck. I did the bracket with my eyes closed, but I did have Colorado Tampa in the final with Colorado winning.
Wow.
I'm not trying to brag too much, but I had a pretty I wish I put one in online because I think it would have done pretty well. But yeah, man, I knew Colorado was an absolute wagon this year with Makar and all the other guys that they've got there, and then Tampa, they were a chance at three-peating, and once they made it through the first round, I knew they were gonna go on a run, and obviously they were pretty banged up while the injury reports came out, which is always interesting to see at the end of playoffs. Not to make excuses for Tampa, but you can only imagine, right, if they were let's say 20% more healthy, that series probably would have been even closer. But I couldn't be more happy for Colorado.
It's insane how much of a battle it is, and they battle through all those injuries. You just don't know, and they look like they're fine, which is you would know being a professional hockey player.
Oh no, it's just incredible. I mean, those guys playing with those injuries, a lot of guys miss weeks, miss half of a season for certain things. Guys are playing with fully broken ankles. That's what makes playoff hockey so special. I think it's truly the hardest professional sport to win in, just for what it takes, the amount of games, the travel. Because not only they're injured, you're flying, and flying makes your injuries worse, things like that. Playing every other day. Yeah, obviously I'm biased, but it's incredible to see what those guys put their bodies through to win a cup.
It's wild. So looking ahead with the NHL, if you could guess or point out, who do you think is going to win the cup in this upcoming 2023 year? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how free agency pans out, but
right.
I wouldn't be shocked to see Florida involved. I wouldn't be shocked to see Colorado involved again. I think Vegas, should be very solid. Yeah, dude, it's last year was the most exciting playoffs, obviously, in a long time, with fans being back and all that stuff. But yeah, I would keep an eye on Florida for sure. I think Carolina's, definitely still got depth to go far again. So it'll be a lot of the same, but yeah, I think Colorado, as long as they have MacKinnon and Carr there, they
right.
can bring in, a couple of players. There's talks they might get Fleury if they don't get Kemper back. Like
right.
They might be the new dynasty,
I mean, when they played against Tampa, like they kept it in their zone the whole time. They kept hounding Tampa. Tampa didn't know what to do. They're like, where the fuck did this team come from? That's what it kind of looked like.
Yeah.
Surprising. But I do want to bring up one player that you just mentioned, and that's Cale Makar. I mean, he kind of came out of nowhere. People that, are not familiar with him were like, what is this? Like Hedman's great, but Cale Makar?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Best defenseman in the NHL, man.
Crazy.
He can do it all. He can play 30 plus minutes a night. He contributes offensively. He's on the PK. I mean, he just is your, amazing. He's like a two-way defenseman, but he's a super two-way defenseman. Like he almost had 30 goals as a D-man, and then is on the PK and contributing and playing against the their top lines and shut down. I mean, he can do absolutely everything, and he's a game breaker. Yeah, so he's gonna be fun to watch over the next several years for sure.
Definitely the best defenseman in the league. Did you know much about him before he came into the show?
No, I'd heard his name, and he was at UMass and played with one of my buddies. He was telling me like, well, dude, this kid is gonna make it, and he's gonna be an elite player. And then
just sick.
He went to UMass Amherst, but he was there after I had left, so I never got to play against him. But yeah, he was an absolute stud in college, and obviously his rookie year in the NHL, he had a pretty amazing season, and now he's gonna probably be a top 2 defenseman for quite some time in the NHL.
Right. He's going to keep winning. I want to transition into a big subject. I hear a lot of rumors that you're like the GOAT of gaming. What the fuck? Let's talk Fortnite.
Oh, dude.
Fortnite.
Unfortunately, since my move up to Costa Mesa Newport, that's, I had the PC's been off for quite some time.
Oh, but, okay.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where, during the season, it's really what it kind of has come from. It's like, yeah. You work, your work day, let's call it, on a practice day at home. You go to the rink at 8 a.m. You're out of there by 12:30. You go grab lunch with the boys, and then you come back. It's 1 o'clock. You're doing like one of 3 things. You're napping, you're going to like the mall or going to a movie, doing something with the fellas, or you're playing video games. Like those are your 3 choices, really. Some guys, have wives or family in town, like, they're doing their own thing, but there really isn't much else to do, and you're just kind of trying to recover through the week, through the season. You're playing 72 games in 7 months, so it's just a fun hobby, and it's also a good way to like keep in touch with guys that you've played with, or
right.
Friends from home, things like that. So yeah, it's just been kind of a staple for me during the season, and it's a good way to keep in touch with old buddies that I played with and stuff like that.
Right. It's such a common thing for these athletes, especially NHL pros that are single, like you said, that love to jump on and catch up and all that. We have a good friend, Luke Anderson, the little pigeon. He did mention that you, Nietzsche, and Nate MacKinnon used to play a lot. And I think that's funny. I think that's great. If you had to pick one of those guys, who would you pick to be on your team out of all 4, including you?
That you just named?
Yes. MacKinnon, Nieto.
MacKinnon every day of the week, man. That
Oh
guy
my God.
absolutely loves Fortnite. He's dedicated to the craft for sure. So
I think
I'm taking Nate all day.
Nietzsche's on there every night, I feel like. No question.
Yeah. I think he's back on the sticks for sure through the summer.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Well, I wanna kind of narrow it down to the wire at the end of this conclusion of this epi with you, but I want to talk about your future because, like I said, the reason why I brought you on today is because you have an inspiring story. I don't think your dream's over. And a lot of people might say that, I don't know if I have it in me to keep going, but I think you do. And mentally you're sharp. I mean, you're strong, just like the rest of your family. You guys work hard. So what's the future hold, you think, and how are we going to continue this passion and dream? What do you see in front of you?
Yeah, my goal is just to get to an AHL training camp, play well. I took a full season off, so I just wanted to go in there and get the cobwebs out, things like that, and then start the season and, the ECHL and get off to a hot start and, get called up to the American League as soon as I can and, get as many American League games in this year as I humanly can and then go from there and just get back on the grind for next couple of years and see what we can do with my career. So that's definitely the goal. Just gotta focus on getting healthy now, and the rest will take care of itself. So that's where we're at.
And I believe that will happen. And we'll touch base too when you do all of that. And I think you'll elevate your game, not just from the ECHL, AHL, but to more above of that in the show. I really do. So not to put too much pressure on you, Savvy.
Yeah, all good. I'll take it.
Yeah, buddy. All right. Well, I love you. And I am so happy you're the first guy to jump on one-on-one with CG, man. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. I think we're going to do great things with this platform. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Thanks, man. I'm so happy you came on. We'll talk soon.
Absolutely.